Hi, we're broadcasting live from the Infinity Festival where story is advanced by technology. And I'm Erin Reilly, professor at the University of Texas at Austin and a strategic consultant for Infinity Festival. We're talking here today with experts in the field of immersive, and I'm lucky to be sitting down with Kathleen. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's super exciting.
So Kathleen, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do. What brought you to the Infinity Festival?
I'm actually working for a big research association in Germany called Fraunhofer. Pretty German name, right? We are 27,000 people working on applied science, and basically it's a really nerdy environment. So what we are doing, like, people know us for inventing MP3, like the codec, but also in my office, specifically in Berlin, our head of institute, he is also on the patents for H.264, which is for this community really important because that's behind HD and Blu-ray. And then also our colleagues wrote H.265, which is also known as HEVC, high efficiency video coding. So basically that's what you need for everything that's higher than HD resolution. And my role is basically to translate. So I call it a human nerd interface.
Oh, I love it. A translator that's a human nerd interface. I think I'm one of those.
Oh, fantastic. See, that's why we're having fun here.
I know. So tell me, what does a human nerd interface translator do?
Basically, the business card says something like head of marketing and business development.
Okay.
Right? But what I'm doing is I'm explaining to the industry, to politicians, to everybody who's not in this peer group, what we are really doing and how you can use this technology for specific use cases. So it could be entertaining, but it could be also virtual reality for medical applications. Could be so many different things. We are working in have you heard of BIM, the building interface something? So the digitalization of all the different companies who are in construction sites.
Right.
Yeah, you need to have an interface that they all can talk with each other in the digital world. So we are trying to help them also with artificial intelligence.
Okay, so here we are
talking
at Infinity Festival where story is advanced by technology, and you're talking about construction and building. We're in the heart of Hollywood, but this immersive goes beyond entertainment. In your own words, define immersive and all the different possibilities of where we can take this.
It's pretty immersive is also totally connected to the word presence.
Yes.
So it really helps you to step into someone else's shoes. You can be anywhere. And what it does to our brain is basically you're simulating in another reality. So you basically dive into something that you just see on a screen, whatever the screen is, and you feel that you're there. Mm-hmm. So you get really totally engaged into the story, into the experience that you are looking at.
And this can be, the way you're describing it, it sounds like virtual reality, but you mean more than virtual reality.
Yes.
If you say that you can be fully immersed, are you talking about projection mapping in a physical space, augmented reality?
Absolutely. Everything that helps you to dive into another world. So it could be projection mapping. Like this week, we are celebrating the 30th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, and there's a huge festival of projection mapping all around the city.
Oh,
and it's beautiful. I have a bit of a FOMO that I really wanted to be here and talk about all those things and catch up. But there in Berlin, there's so much going on. They have beautiful projections there. But they also use augmented reality, or like projection mapping is one of the early stages of augmented reality, because you augment something else on something that exists.
Physical space.
Thank you. Yeah, so that it could be also, that is all immersive. It's also augmented, virtual reality. It could be also big screens where you are surrounded by the screen. Like you are in the education field, so maybe you know the University of New South Wales, Australia. They have a 360, was that a cinema?
Dome.
The dome,
yeah. The dome. Yeah, I've been trying to get Moody College of Communication to get me a dome. It would be super fun.
I love the one in Sydney. I'm lucky enough that I could see that.
You got to see it?
Yeah.
And there's so many things that you can do within a dome. What's one of the most memorable experiences you've had inside a dome?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, we created a 360 camera The 360 degrees are there because we have a 180-degree screening room which has also an immersive sound system. It's called ISONO, the wave field synthesis.
Oh, yeah.
So you have a 7K projection and more than 140 loudspeakers. And there I watched soccer.
You watched
Pretty German. I watched soccer. There was, for the soccer fans,
hopefully
2014.
World Cup.
Yes, 2014, the World Cup in Rio for the final.
Oh, I was there.
Seriously?
I was literally studying sports fans at the World Cup in 2014.
So maybe you were there for the final in
Did
Rio?
you see me in that immersive experience just waving at you?
I actually will check out now because seriously, we were there with our camera. The FIFA invited us, and we shot that for the FIFA museum.
Oh, wow.
So we have the one important goal.
I want to go back.
So you remember who won, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, we don't even need to go there. I just got upset when U.S. got kicked out when we played against Portugal. We were doing so good.
Well, see, when you come into our room, it really feels like you are in the stadium.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Takes me back, right?
Yes. But obviously also for some, there's some beautiful arts that we are showing there. For instance, we have a really long relationship with the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra. Mm-hmm. And when you are in this room and you can really, you really feel that you are with Sir Simon Rattle, the conductor. You're just next to him.
Oh,
it's a beautiful experience.
Wow, for my son is a musician, so thinking about having that experience before going and getting a career in that field to really kind of have a sense of presence, like you were talking about, and feel what it would be like to be on a stage at that level. I can see that would not only inspire but motivate students in the next generations to be like, this is the type of career I want.
Absolutely. It fits totally to the last discussions I had in Oslo. So the Norwegian school system, we always think that the Scandinavians are really far above everybody else, like they have a fantastic system and everybody is so highly educated. Well, funny enough, they have a problem with school dropouts lately. Like every third boy drops out and every fifth girl. Which is really, I was
teaching
super
them
surprised.
The wrong way, maybe?
Maybe. I mean, they have all tablet schools, so they don't have books anymore.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's a private school or a public school, they have that. But the way they are teaching is still the old way that we know since decades. And they are getting bored. So they are totally bored. And they also, the Norwegians are much richer than other countries. So those kids now who are in school, they basically grow up with wealthy families, and they didn't have this extreme eager to, I really need to make a living, I have to make a career because whatever, I don't have to worry, right?
Right.
So the school there, we had a workshop with principals from schools and with the Minister for Education. So the minister showed up for a 50-plus workshop with teachers, and there was a principal who told us that he is using virtual reality to engage his students, and he's using it the way that they are the ones who are creating the experiences. So they are training them on Maya and Unity and Unreal Engine, and they are saying those kids are getting engaged.
Right.
And they are feeling that they're really making a difference because they can teach their teachers what they just did, what they just experienced. They can show them, that's fantastic, because they really feel so appreciated.
Yeah.
They get a fantastic feedback from the teacher.
And they have ownership in their learning.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Are you finding that there are new hard skills or platforms that should definitely be included into our educational system in order to be ready for the digital world we're living in?
I absolutely agree, because you can't start early enough. I mean, obviously there are some tech leaders who are saying, no, my kids are not getting any digital stuff before they're 15. But when you don't learn how to be a developer and not just a consumer, then you're not part of it, and then you're just you're not really engaged, and so everything is just put on a tablet basically on the tablet for you, and you just take it and be just a really passive observer of everything.
Right.
But when you get engaged, you really feel appreciated, and you feel you created something.
Yeah, I keep on hearing you say you created something,
Yeah.
so it sounds like the learning of tomorrow, or of today really, should be where students are now makers and have ownership in their learning, and that an immersive experience not only allows them to have presence in different places, but also gives them the tools to create those places.
So I just gave this keynote in Oslo, and I showed them this learning pyramid where you're basically saying, tell me and I might forget, teach me and I may remember, engage me and I learn. So this pyramid shows you that after 2 weeks, what can we remember? Remember 10% of what we have been reading, but 90% of what we did and said, but also what we experienced or what we just simulated to experience. So it could be also a drama play or something. You remember those things 90%. In comparison to the 10%. So we should use that. And this is known since 1969.
Oh yeah, it's
So
definitely,
you know that in the education area.
it's
So
definitely, so the more we can actually think and do combined.
Yeah, it's
better.
it's just how we learn. I mean, we already know how our brains work. It's just like we get more evidence about it, and we get more technology that shows us how it really works.
Right.
Like for instance, all those things that we are working with neuroscientists, and they are proving disease of the body are disease of the brain, and disease of the brain are disease of the body. So now we have this proof, and I'm like, well, I think yoginis know that since 2,000 years.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
But just now we have the evidence with MRI pictures and all those different technologies.
It seems people need data in order to finally have validation. Even though the data is now more numerical, it's the qualitative has been there for a while, right? People have been telling and shaping these stories. So I'm curious, in the research lab that you work in, what is some of the hottest or kind of the future immersive experiences that y'all are working on?
Well, we finished last year actually the volumetric video capturing stage. So in our office we have the prototype where we are still working on the software to make that easier and a plug-and-play version. But last year we founded a company, a joint venture in the big studios around the corner from Berlin, the Babelsberg studios. So there we have this huge volumetric capturing stage called VoluCap. And I will present that later on at 11:25, which is soon to come. So I will show some videos of that, what we're doing there, how we capture people in volumetric. So that's one of our key technologies we are focusing on, but in immersive also, as I said, dedication to industrial applications. We have a couple of projects where we work with gesturing, and we have one project called V-Reha, where we are talking about the rehabilitation of Alzheimer patients, where we use virtual reality and gesturing to train them in a virtual world, so that they become more, they more comfortable in those environments. Let's say a supermarket, we train them to walk through a supermarket, but in their own home, where they feel comfortable. And so the more they train, the more they feel comfortable, the more they feel lose their fear, and the more they are happy to go into the real world.
Into the real world. So you simulate it for them.
Yes, we simulate it, and we work with the Charité, one of the big hospitals.
In order to actually prepare them to go out into the real world. That's really interesting. And I think it's necessary. I think it ties to accessibility, which is something we don't talk a lot about in immersive. But I'm curious, in a research lab, are y'all always making sure that your work is tied to thinking about inclusion and accessibility?
More and more, because it just has to. So I'm also moderating the tech and awareness track, and is really where basically I'm bringing in there what I got inspired by in our labs, so that we really have to talk about inclusion and how to make the user experience better, easier for everybody.
Better and easier and accessible for all.
Accessible, yes.
Well, Kathleen, thank you so much for joining us here at Infinity Festival. Stay tuned for seeing Kathleen on the stage, and we'll be back soon.
Thank you, Erin.